Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome back to the Influencer segment brought to you by the New Jersey Fieldhouse, where champions are built and futures are shaped. Today, we're diving into the high-stakes world of competition, strategy, and resilience with none other than Chris Allen, one of the breakout stars of Million Dollar Secret, Netflix's latest reality sensation. It's a game of wit, deception, and endurance. This show throws 12 strangers into a luxury estate where one of them secretly holds $1 million. Their mission? Keep it hidden at all costs. But Chris wasn't just another contestant. His background in corporate finance, combined with an Ivy League education and a deep commitment to mental and physical wellness, made him uniquely prepared for the psychological warfare of the game. Beyond the reality TV drama, Chris is passionate about helping others achieve success, whether it's in business, personal growth, or staying mentally and physically sharp under pressure. Today, we're breaking down the mindset of an overachiever, the role of discipline in success, and how competition can be a powerful force in shaping our lives. We're chatting mastering the mind game, high stakes competition, and winning in life. Welcoming now to the show is New Jersey's very own Chris Allen. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Great to be here.
I'm so excited to have you on. So let's dive right in, because I know people are just eager to really understand the motivation behind everything you do. Let's chat adapting to high stakes environments, which seems to be exactly what you've done. So from going from the structured world of finance and academia to the unpredictable landscape of reality TV, that's no small leap. Studies show that high achievers who embrace unpredictability are about 40% more likely to develop advanced problem-solving skills, and $1 Million Secret is nothing if not unpredictable. So how did your background in finance and business strategy prepare you for the mind games of $1 Million Secret?
Well, I think I was really blessed to have gotten the opportunity to be on $1 Million Secret because the game was sort of the ultimate test of all of the things that I had learned in the business world up until that point. Entrepreneurship was sort of the ultimate battlefield. I think every single day as an entrepreneur, you deal with the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. You wake up every single morning not necessarily knowing what that day has. That day has to be ahead of you. And then going into $1 Million Secret, every possible high stakes, high stress situation was something that was presented to us on an hour to hour basis. So I think being an entrepreneur really tested me and trained me to be agile, to think in different ways, to be analytical, to read people, to influence others. And it was really fun to have applied the lessons of being an entrepreneur to playing this high stakes, high stress game that now the world has gotten to be able to see.
That makes total sense. It's like playing chess in real time, anticipating moves, controlling perception, and staying one step ahead. So
Mm-hmm.
your ability to adapt under pressure must have been a huge advantage, right? Now let's chat the psychology of competition and overachievers. So some people shy away from competition and others thrive in it. Studies show that overachievers tend to view competition as a form of self-improvement rather than just winning or losing. What was the driving force per se behind that competitive mindset? Have you always been like that? How has that drive helped you both in business and even in $1 Million Secret?
Yeah, I actually draw a lot of parallels to how I felt and how I played the game $1 Million Secret to how I felt as an athlete growing up. And for me, my competitive mindset was honed on the athletic field. I was the son of a college athlete. I played all sorts of sports growing up, and obviously, was very competitive in doing so. I think I felt competitive from an early age, and that was really the environment that I had that in. As an adult, as an entrepreneur, as a business person, I think a lot of times you do have to kind of curb that natural competition and sort of be collaborative and work with others and, find healthy ways to channel your competitiveness because a lot of times it's not necessarily received so well. In $1 Million Secret, I felt the competitive juices flowing the way I hadn't felt them since I had been an athlete as a child.
Wow.
Because of such a competitive environment, such a competitive field, and we competed on a daily basis. So it was exciting to feel those feelings again and also track the arc of how I've developed and changed. And frankly, watching the series back, I look at it as an example of ways that I can continue to grow. The way that the competition, the competitiveness came out, I'm like, yeah, I think that there's still growth for me as a person, having seen how that sort of high stakes environment brought out different characteristics.
That's such an important perspective. First of all, we never stop growing, right? We always know enough to know that we don't know everything. And competition isn't just about beating others, it's about pushing yourself to being better, stronger, and sharper. And in a game like this, that mindset could make or break your success. So let's chat discipline, consistency, that winning formula, right? Studies do show that people who stick to their disciplined routines are like 45% more likely to achieve their goals than those who rely solely on motivation. And that applies to fitness, to business, and even reality TV strategy. So, what role did discipline and consistency play in preparing you for the pressures of both entrepreneurship and being on $1 Million Secret?
I think that there's a lot of similarities between the two, entrepreneurship and then being in a high stakes reality competition. Both of them are really high variance emotional environments. So being an entrepreneur, obviously you have the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, right? What I think discipline and consistency plays into that is that you need to find some way to bring it back to level. And for me, those things would be, mindfulness, physical fitness, and then obviously things that I enjoy, hobbies outside of my entrepreneurial pursuits. So those things would ground me. They would bring me back to level, and they would sort of level out sort of the variability of being an entrepreneur. In $1 Million Secret, we were filming most of the day, right? So it was really hard to build in discipline and consistency. What I found to help bring me back to level was writing. I kept copious notes of what I was doing. And that became sort of a nighttime routine for me to kind of wind down from a really high stress day. And it's also served as a nice memento for me to look back and think, what was I was thinking during the sort of defining life experience?
That's so true. And whether it's training for a marathon or running a business or competing on a reality show, discipline is what separates the contenders from the champions, right?
Absolutely.
So, mental toughness in high stress situations. Okay. So, one thing that separates top performers in any field is their ability to stay mentally strong when things get tough. We know that elite competitors train their minds just as much as their skills, building resilience to handle that high pressure situation. So, what were some of the most mentally challenging moments on $1 Million Secret, and how did you keep your emotions in check?
Yeah, I think coming into the house and $1 Million Secret, I thought that my experience as an entrepreneur would really help me develop, portray and exhibit mental toughness. But the game stretched us beyond the limits of what I was prepared for. Looking back on it, I don't know that I necessarily did the best job. And I think that there's a lot of ways that I can continue to improve from this experience. But what I will say is the scar tissue of having been through high stress situations, been in the boardroom, been in difficult conversations with investors, VCs, things like that, really helped me because ultimately I've developed this sort of mental rigor of what do I do when I feel a certain way? How do I bring it back to level? How do I continue to portray calmness and stability when you're in a difficult situation? With that said, looking back on the experience, I still have more to learn. I think that that will continue to benefit me as I go forward.
Now I want to move on to physical wellness and performance. When you look at people who exercise regularly, who commit to a sport, that improves cognitive function alone by up to 30%. It boosts decision making, reaction time. There's stress management involved in all this, which is essential in both business and high stakes competition. So how has your dedication to fitness and wellness helped you maintain that peak performance? I know you said your dad was an athlete, but
Mhm.
whether in business or reality TV or even everyday life, I'm sure it all ties together for you.
Yeah, I mean, fitness and physical wellness is a way of training your mind for the sport of business. I think that that's something that anybody who tries to balance those two things would agree with. But what I really liked about maintaining a physical wellness regimen while being an entrepreneur is that there is no way to cheat physical wellness, right? The results are the results, the work that you put in, the inputs equal the outputs. And a lot of times in entrepreneurship, it's not a fair game. Sometimes in $1 Million Secret, it's not a fair game. But in physical wellness, a lot of times it is a fair game, right? The inputs that you put in equal the output. So I really like that. If I want results in my physical and mental wellness, I have to put in the work in order to achieve them. There's no way for me to skirt around it or cheat.
Yeah, success is holistic. You can't perform at your best mentally if you're not taking care of yourself physically. I mean, it's common sense. Now let's chat lessons from this reality TV for real life. So it's come on. I mean, like it's a lot of pressure, very quick thrust into the spotlight. Reality TV is often seen as just entertainment, but there are real world lessons hidden in the chaos, and the ability to read people, to think on your feet, and adapt to unexpected challenges. Those are skills that really translate far beyond the screen. So, what was the biggest lesson you took away from Million Dollar Secret that you think applies to everyday life?
My biggest lesson and takeaway from Million Dollar Secret is actually a really positive one, because our game is a brutal game and it requires you to lie in order to succeed. So I thought I was going to come away with the lessons of, wow, people can be really devious, people can be really backstabbing, but it actually encouraged me to look for the good in people, because when I looked at this is a game where we had to lie in order to succeed. But for the most part, what I saw is that we actually wanted to play honestly. We wanted to play with integrity. We wanted to win while maintaining our personal values for the most part. And those who did have to lie in order to win really struggled with it. So it's encouraged me to sort of look for the good in people, and maybe have a bit more of a positive outlook than maybe you would have thought so if you read the log line of the show.
That's such a powerful takeaway. So let's chat. What's next? You've conquered the world of finance, built businesses, and now made a name for yourself in reality TV. Your journey proves that success isn't a straight line. It's about taking bold chances and trusting the process. So what's next? Are you looking to stay in entertainment, or are there any other cool projects on the horizon?
Absolutely would love to stay in entertainment. The process and experience of going on and sharing Million Dollar Secret with the world has been, for me, the honor of a lifetime. But one of the great things about being on reality television is that it allows you a platform to connect with like-minded individuals. And oftentimes those that follow you and want to follow your journey are doing so because they're interested in what you're interested in. So for me, as a creator that now has a bit more of a platform, I'm excited to help bring others along on the journey of business ownership. It's really hard. And I think a lot of times it can be a very isolating experience. My passion is around creating communities to help people pursue entrepreneurship in a sustainable way for their physical and mental wellness. And I'm going to use my platform to do that.
That's exciting and so humble of you. Whether it's reality TV or your business mindset or your wellness mindset, whatever you take on next, I have no doubt you'll approach it with the same strategic mindset and competitive drive that's gotten you this far. So kudos to you, my friend.
It was a pleasure.
And so for those of you that want to follow him, you definitely want to check him out on Instagram. He's very active. Check out his social at CallenND, CALLENND. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. That wraps up today's influencer segment, brought to you by the New Jersey Fieldhouse. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by the Fieldhouse in Northvale, New Jersey, a vibrant and fresh take on youth and adult sports and family fun, and home to the New Jersey Thunder softball program. Plan unforgettable birthday parties or private events, or explore camps and programs that keep kids active and inspired. Take time for yourself in adult leagues or rent a field or court with friends. From a cutting-edge gaming cave to hitting and pitching centers and top-tier sports instructors, the Fieldhouse is reigniting the next generation of play. Head to njfieldhouse.com.